Here's a story. After sending your husband to prison for trying to kill you, you become the second wife in a Muslim marriage. You take your children and move in with your new family for a fresh start. But never would you suspect that he'd be raping your daughter for a year. And today, she is finally ready to share her story. Trappin Anonymous.
After I told my mom what happened, we called my best friend and we asked her if he tried anything with her. And I found out that he raped her too when she was spending the night at my house. And it just explained why she never came over to my house again. And I always just see her in school, or I would try to go over to her house, but he wouldn't let me. He raped my best friend. The only friend I made.
You want to take a minute?
Yeah.
So, before I start this episode, part 2, I want to point out that a very good doctor friend of mine has reached out regarding this episode, and Dr. Jamila Jones and Dr. Erica Hill has reached out from Steps Counseling and Consulting Incorporated, and they're going to offer our guest 1 year free of therapy. And I couldn't be more grateful for that. So many people reach out, so many people want to be heard, very few people want to help. And when you get those rare people to reach out that can help, I couldn't think of a better candidate than this young lady that we have here today. Her bravery. I was very conflicted about this episode. If this is something that we should even do. I know Trappin Anonymous has been bold, it has been daring, it has been raw, and it has been the truth. And this young woman, I know that her truth will help not only encourage other women, we could learn what to look out for. We could learn what we should do, what we shouldn't do. We will learn how to catch it quicker. A lot of my interviews are from people that have dealt with the trauma a long time ago, especially when it comes to sexual abuse, when it comes to rape. So this time around, we're going to be very delicate, we're going to be very careful, but we're going to be very intentional. This young woman was adamant about telling her story, and the importance of it is unparalleled. So, this is Trappin Anonymous. My name is Chris Dowes. Let's get it. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
What is your name, and why is your testimony important?
My name is Ayesha Bay, and my testimony is important because I want to let other girls know to always speak up. Always speak up no matter what, and to be aware of the monsters out here.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
How old were you when this occurred?
I was a fresh 14.
14 years old.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like your mother did not protect you?
No. I feel like she did her best with what she had.
You have a young daughter now?
Yeah.
How will your life experiences influence the way you take care of her now?
I think now, the things I went through, I am I'm less patient. I used to be very patient, but now I'm less patient. I got like a short mental capacity, but it's like I don't let it influence my parenting on her. Like sometimes I do gotta like step away, go to the bathroom, take a 5-minute break. But it is a little harder. But I wouldn't regret it. I don't regret it.
You know your mother blames herself for what happened.
Yeah.
If there was something that you could tell her, what would it be?
I would tell her that I don't blame her because during everything, she wasn't the mom that was in the clubs. Like, oh, where was you at? My mom was at work. My mom worked. She provided for us. Even though it was a man in the house, she was the provider. So I want to tell her to keep doing what you're doing and don't ever stop. And what we went through made us stronger. I love you too. Don't get me crying.
Do you forgive your mother?
I do. I do. It did take me a while because it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't blame her for what happened because she just wanted a family. But I think we realized after the fact we didn't need that father role to complete our family. We was a family. We was good. It was us. I feel like that was just something that she was fighting with. And as kids, we didn't understand. But it's like my 14-year-old mom versus now.
When you first told your mom, she immediately believed you. You didn't have one of the instances where you had to go back and forth about it, where you felt like she didn't trust you, where she took the man's side. What did it mean for her to step up for you immediately?
It meant a lot. I never doubt my mom stepping up for me. It was just the times where I was ready to tell her, it was a bad time. Like, he was real manipulative. So if I was just like in trouble for one little thing, he would make it one big thing. And it's like, my mom loved hard. She cared about us hard. And if we do something, it's like, why you do that? Like, I raised you better than that. So it's more of a disappointment thing than a mad thing. And when my mom is disappointed, it's forget what I did. I'm trying to do something to make my mom feel better about the situation. It's like, now we gotta get back on good terms. Forget what happened. We're gonna move forward.
Thank you, Mom. I'm going to ask her to complete her episode. Thank you for sitting. From what you remember, and only share what you're comfortable sharing, how did everything happen?
Like, far as like the assault. So he wasn't like, when I first met him, it didn't give off no, when I first met him, I didn't like him because he dated my mom and I didn't trust nobody. So, but I like eased my way into it. But he didn't show off no weird vibes. Like, he honestly gave dad vibes. Like, he would be a good stepdad. But he had his sons come stay, and like his daughter came and stayed with us for the summer. Everything was cool. It was a little weird stuff going on, like different things that have been said that you wouldn't think to really say to a kid. Like, if I could go back in time, I would date you.
What?
Yeah, it's like, thinking about it now, it's like I really brush it off. I'm a kid. It's like, oh, okay, like, what does that even mean?
Right.
So, everything really didn't start until after everybody left. That's the crazy thing. His sons went back to New York. Daughters went back down south. So, I went to school like a normal day. I was a freshman, new high school, new state. And I came home from school, and he was there. Normally he wouldn't be because he travels, but he was there. And he was like, I got home. He was like, come on, like, tell me about your day in school. So we went in my parents' room. And usually that's where all the kids gather up and talk, and then we all disperse. But that specific day, it was just him. This time, my brothers got home a little later. Usually our bus pull up at the same time. And I was sitting down, I was telling him about my day, this and the third. And I guess him and my mom was like having little arguments here and there. And he told me, he was like, well, he's like, yeah, well, I got your mom something, and I wanted to see how you felt about it. And it's like, okay. But what he wanted to know was how the sex toy would work. That's what he wanted to show me, was a sex toy that he got from my mom. So when I was sitting there in the chair, it was literally a chair like this, and it was like in front of the bed. And then he just like leaned over. He was like, yeah, come here, let me show you something. So he physically grabbed my arm and started using the toy. Then the toy went from him forcing me into a doggy style position in the bedroom closet, and he raped me. And after he raped me, he just left me there in a closet, and he went in the bathroom, and you could hear him like turn the shower on, and I just ran into my room. And it's like shortly after I ran into my room, you could hear the front door open, and it's my mom and my brothers, because they're coming home from school too. And I'm just in the bathroom staring at myself like, what just happened? Like, it was a cool daddy and daughter bond that was growing and turned into that so fast. Everything was normal. And I got in the shower and I just scrubbed my body. I just, that was a deep shower, and a very hot shower. So after I got out the shower, and like I just like put some sweatpants and a hoodie on, I stayed in my room for a little bit because I like just heard him in the living room laughing, like making my mom laugh, making my brothers laugh. And I'm just contemplating if I should like go out into the living room. And I went out there, and it's just like to see everybody just laughing and smiling. So I just sat on the other couch. And then my mom asked me about my day and stuff. And I was like, it's fine. And it's like I was sitting there and I could feel, I was trying so hard not to look at him, just to act like he wasn't there. But I could feel like the heat of him staring at me. And then try to make a joke with me like everything was okay. And it wasn't. Like, so that was when it first happened. And then
what are the signs from a young woman that is experiencing this abuse, this level of abuse? And like you said, when your mom was here, you didn't want to just tell her. You wanted to tell her, but you just couldn't because you didn't want to disrupt.
I didn't, I haven't seen her so happy. Around the time she met him, like I seen my mom heartbroken. And it's like, he could have did anything. He could have cheated on her. He could have, like, been verbally abusive. But for that to happen, that was, like, such a whiplash. Because that's all she ever warned me. But it's like, you can give your children warning signs. Until it happened, it don't be them exact signs. All the signs that my mom did give me as a child, like, if a guy ever look at you like this, or if, you know, this happened, tell me. But it's like, that didn't happen. He act like my dad. I didn't think he was looking at me sexually. I thought he was looking at me like he was my dad. I don't be around men. I don't be around older men. You know, as a kid, you know what it's like to flirt with somebody your own age, but I don't know how it is to know that a grown man is attracted to a little girl. I know now. And I would kill somebody for my daughter. But it was really a shock.
And the grooming, what does the grooming look like?
The grooming, I have 2 little brothers. But he always wanted to spend time with me. All them long drives and going to the store and going to get the car washed, he wanted to do that with me. He didn't ever want to take my brother. I feel like when somebody's too fixated on just one kid, it's something going on. If you're too worried about, like, for example, I was a rebel teenager to the extent of I didn't ask my mom to go outside. I was never like sneaking around and skipping school and stuff like that. So he was so fixated with me to the point where he would make up stuff like, oh, I seen some boy come around the corner. You know, he's probably here seeing Ajane. Like, he would say stuff like that. We would move into a whole new house, and he'd be like, oh, who was that was walking in the back of the house? Telling this to my mom. Like, what is you talking about? To a point where my mom was getting upset. Like, what are you talking about? Why do you think my daughter is doing X, Y, Z? But he was obsessed. It was nothing going on.
That's a commonality with all of the survivors of this type of abuse that I've spoken to. The father or the stepfather or the older man always becomes jealous in a sense, like they're in a relationship almost with the daughter. I don't want you seeing no boys. I don't like, but just overbearingly.
But
so
overbearingly.
like, yeah, it's just like this is a little weird. You get what I'm saying? I feel like so many young women are not heard, especially from my generation. All of the people that I speak to talk to their parents, and their parents just want to keep the house together. Just want to make sure the man continues to take care of the home. Or they just feel like their daughter's just some fast girl and you just stand in third. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's important that you know that none of this is your fault.
It took me a while to...
Like, there's nothing you could have done to stop a sick individual like that. Nothing. Whether he would take it by force, manipulation, different tactics. An individual like that is going to do what he's going to do regardless of a yes, a no, a maybe, a if. And that's the important thing. So if you can talk to the other young women about it not being their fault, because you know that blame, that guilt that you put on yourself. If you can help them get out of that dark place, what are some things that you would say?
I would say it's not your fault. It don't matter what you wear, how you walk, how you talk, what your body shape is. You could be skinny, you could be thick, you could be a twig. It don't matter. When it happened to me, I had elastic, flowy pants on and a sweater, a brown sweater. And it's not your fault. You can't, like you said, you can't stop a sick individual like that. Because a real man, even if you was a teenager and you walked around in your shorts, or if you walked around in your crop top, a real man knows that's a little girl. That's a child. And there's grown women out here I could talk to. But people are so evil, and evil likes pure. Evil likes pure. They like when you're pure and you happy, it's nothing bothering you. Even if you did go through something, you're not, stuck on it. Evil comes when you at your highest.
What do you think your mother could have done differently?
Honestly, I think I don't think we should have moved in so soon. Like, it was good because I see where she was coming from. Like, he would never be home. But once he got obsessed and his real true colors started coming out, all he wanted to do was be home. So I feel like, honestly, I think my mom should just waited out a little longer. Like, just did the long distance thing just a little longer. I would have accepted her going to travel to see her husband and stuff. Because we was already in a predicament after my dad where we was just moving a lot. And I know all she wanted to give us was stability in a two-parent home. Because that's all we was used to. Even though, like, the stuff would happen with my mom and dad, we wasn't in it. Like, we heard mommy and daddy argue, but they arguing. We gonna go to Chuck E. Cheese the next day. Because that's what he did to make up for it. But that's all she wanted. But I feel like she definitely, I would have went back in time and been adamant on mom now. Let's just wait this out a little bit more. But she wanted to get out of Philly. She wanted a stable home, and that was the goal.
You told me you got to a point where you felt like you were sacrificing yourself. For your brother, for your mother. Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we could talk about that. So, like, it's like my mom, she would let me know what's going on, like reasons why we gotta move or reasons why we didn't do this that day. Real adult life things. And it was like I was stuck in between with my mom. It's like I was stuck in between. If I say something, it's either, for one, he could kill all of us. He was the type to have guns in the house. He showed us how to load a gun and unload it and everything. That was the first time I ever really held a gun or learned how to use a gun, was him. So he would like sometimes have some in the house. It was that he could kill us, or if this do happen, we're gonna be out in the street. We don't have nowhere to go. He done put an eviction on my mom. We're out of state. We don't know nobody in this state. The most we knew was my brother, baby mom, but that's not family. That's not an auntie. That's not an uncle. That's not a cousin. And if we do move back to PA, like, we don't have nobody there either. We was going to be literally starting right back where we was, right back in the shelter, starting from the bottom. And then for my brothers, it was like, he's not all the way good, but it's at least some things they can learn. Like, they needed a man in their life. They needed a fatherly role in their life. Like, we got older brothers, but they got their own life. They got kids. They wasn't always around. So I felt like at least he could, like, teach him how to change a tire or something, you know, or I knew like it was days that they did enjoy him around. And it's like, for me, behind closed doors is terror. But for them, it was like we was just finally good again.
Wow.
Like we was just getting right there. Like we got
Right.
a fresh start.
Right.
We good.
Right.
And I just didn't want to jeopardize that. Wow. I didn't want that to go away.
Wow.
They was in school meeting friends.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable.
Yeah. You said that you'd be afraid to go home.
Afraid to go home.
Like you didn't even want to be in the house.
I didn't. It's like when we was still living down south, I didn't know nobody. Probably like moving back, I came out of there with one friend. And I was always in the house. So when we moved, he kind of followed us. Because at that point, my mom didn't want to be, like, besides her even knowing what was going on, she was just honestly at that point done with him. So we moved back. And at that time, it's like, all right, I know we 2 hours away from Philly, but my grandma lived down there. I got some old friends I could reconnect with. I can go there every weekend. I'm in school during the week. Try to find me a little job for after school. So by the time I get home, it's nighttime. And on the weekend, I just go straight to my grandma's house. I try to make it an every weekend trip or every other weekend trip, but mainly every weekend. It's just so, like, he won't see me. Like,
What made you tell? What made you just say, you know what? Fuck it.
actually, I was trying to go for the weekend, and my mom was like, I don't understand why you want to keep going back to Philly. It's dangerous down there. Like, what is going on with you? You never want to be home. Is someone touching on you? Is someone doing something to you? And at that moment, I was like, we back home. We obviously got somewhere to live. My mom just got a new job, and she trying to get him out of here. This is it. This is going to be we're free. And I just, honestly, truly, right then and there, I had the courage to. But I was still hesitant because he was still nearby. He had the neighbor drive him to like an interview or something. And it was like a couple hours away. And he wasn't in the house. And I felt I didn't want to be trapped no more. I wanted to be free. Like, I didn't want to be scared to tell my mom about a boy I like. I didn't want to strain me and my mom relationship even more. I just wanted to be free. And it's like when I told her, I seen the hurt on her face, but I also felt that weight on my shoulders drop. It felt so good. It felt so good.
God is good. You married now?
Yeah, I'm married now.
Got a baby girl?
And a baby girl. Yeah, she's 1 now. And then I met my now husband when I was visiting my grandma over them weekends.
You were supposed to be there.
It was like I was still going through what I was going through, and he was still raping me. And when I would start talking to him, it was just like a friend relationship. Like, I did feel control. Like, I felt like this ain't gonna work because I got grown-ass man obsessed with me. Like, I don't know how this is about to go right now. And I don't know, it's like when I met him, I just felt like a kid again. Like, all that went out the window. It didn't all come back to me until I had to go back home. Like, I never thought about it. And it's like, it took me a while to, like, even, like, cuddle with him, like, really be physical, like, hugging and It was like a little side hug when you take me home, like a little pat on the back, like bye, see you later. But when I like felt that I need to be free feeling, I was like, yeah, no, this can't happen. You can't keep holding me back from
That's
being a
right.
kid.
That's right.
I was scared to have friends over. And the sad thing is that one friend, like, he got to her too. After I told my mom what happened, we called my best friend and we asked her if he tried anything with her. And I found out that he raped her too when she was spending the night at my house. And it just explained why she never came over to my house again. And I always like just see her in school, or like I would try to go over to her house, but he wouldn't let me. Like, he raped my best friend, the only friend the only friend I made.
You want to take a minute?
Yeah. The only like close friend I made down there. And I say close friend because she was the only one that took the initiative to actually come see me, hang out after school. Like, we had this thing where we lived right across the mall, so we had this thing where we would just go to the mall and get Taco Bell, $5, and we split that between us. And it was just, she came over one day on winter break, and like, it was a good night. You know, we did teenager stuff. And like, we went to sleep, and sometimes like we would sleep in the same bed, but this night like we slept in 2 different beds. I don't know how, when, like, because she stayed the night for a couple of days. So it's like, I don't know how, when, where I was at. But that day I told my mom, she was like, yeah, it happened to me too. I'm like, you ain't say nothing to me. Why you ain't tell me that? And then my mom was like, is that why you stopped coming over? And she was like, yeah. And like, we ended up telling her parents. Her parents filed a report too. And that was crazy. And I feel like our friendship now, I feel sometimes I do feel tension in our friendship. And sometimes like I blame myself. Or sometimes I think, do she blame me? Like, we still talk, but we never like had that conversation.
We're going several warrants out for his arrest right now.
Several warrants. And the crazy thing is, when we did it, they said they was going to be expeditable or something like that. Meaning, like, if he got pulled over anywhere, he could get locked up. And he recently got pulled over, like, a year ago. Like, last year sometime. And they didn't lock him up. And he gave a fake name and everything. So he know they're out looking for him. They did not lock him up because the warrants wasn't active in that area.
Told me that part of the reason why you wanted to do this because you felt like you wouldn't get justice. hopefully with a platform like this, it'll lead to some.
Yeah. He caused a lot of hurt. And I feel like now it's like, I don't know if he did this to anybody else, honestly. I don't know if like this is something he do. But like I feel like right now he's just walking free and got the opportunity to just do it again. Sneaky and manipulative like he did.
Anything you want to leave a young woman with or a parent with through your testimony?
Always check up on your kids. Always. I can say my mom checked up on me. She did. But also, like, when you check up on your kids, don't interrogate them. Make them feel comfortable. Like, honestly. You really gotta pay attention. Don't make work your life. Because when you make work your life, little things, big things can happen. I know, like, work is important, you know, pay the bills, feed the family, but sometimes work is not important. Sometimes you do gotta take them days off and be home, see what's going on. And for the young girls, I say, when somebody asks you, no matter how scared you are, no matter how fresh the assault happened, because sometimes my mom would ask me when the assault freshly happened. Like, she would just be like, Nay, be honest with me, did he? But it's like, dang, like, he literally just did. What you want me to say? Like, I don't know. Because he's walking downstairs in the kitchen right now. And it's like another thing with my fears, along with, like, being put out and stuff, is my mom being in jail. That was another big thing. Because not only she would be away from me, she would be away from my two little brothers. And we would be in the system because nobody would stick up for us.
This episode broke me. Really did. I'm gonna do everything in my power to not only get you that therapy, well, the therapy is happening, just to follow up, check in. All my guests, they still pick up the phone for me, so please just continue being great, being a wife, the mother, and on behalf of everyone, I'm sure, I just thank you for your bravery.
Appreciate it.
Give me a hug. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.